the beauty about this whole manifestation journey is that you don't actually need to think about what it is you need to do in order to make the amount of money that you need or to find the relationship that you want. That's not your job. Your job is to quieten the mind down enough for you to receive the guidance that wants to come through you, that's going to put you in the direction of what you need to go into in order to have the thing that it is you want. But because our minds become so loud and controlling and attached to things being the way we think they should be, we get in the way of that process and sabotage it massively. I'll give you an example. Let's say you wish to have a healthy, loving relationship with a beautiful woman, yet you don't seem to be able to attract the sort of women that you're attracted to. And so you're caught up in lack and in this sort of energy of I can't have it, or I don't deserve it, or whatever the limiting stories are. And so that's the reality you're living in. And then there's this other reality that you're trying to manifest and bring into your life, where you're actually with a beautiful woman who lights you up and you're having all these amazing experiences and life's really fucking good. So you want that, but currently you have what you potentially have now, which is not that. So you're caught up in the lack. So in order for you to have the thing that it is you want, the relationship, you've got to realise first of all that it's your identity, it's your how you see yourself that is creating the current reality. And you see yourself as someone who can't have the thing that it is you want, which is why you currently can't. Because you don't see yourself as a man who maybe women find attractive, or you don't see yourself as a man who goes after what he wants. And you don't see yourself as having the confidence to speak your truth, tell the women that you're attracted to that you want to take them out on a date or whatever it is that you've got to do. So your job therefore is to connect with the version of you that is currently living that reality, which is already within you. If you've been so disidentified with that version of you, it can seem almost impossible to have that, because you just haven't been playing that version of you, but it's within you. It's just very, very deeply hidden. So you'll have an intention to be that version of you, right? So if there's a strong intention, then everything that's not that will arise in you. So if you're dealing with lack around women and you want abundance with women, for example, and this works for money and everything else, you imagine having the thing you want and you have the intention in order to create it, and then you feel a bit shit because that's not where you're at right now, and that feelings of shit, whatever that is, it could be depression, could be anger, could be shame. Because it's uncomfortable, you then give up. And you buy into the limiting stories that you can't have it, you're not deserving. But when you think about it, that shit that came up, that's the magical unfolding of this manifestation process that is actually bringing up what's not the thing you want, in order for you to heal it, let it go, so you can start stepping towards what it is you want. Like how magical is that? But we don't get taught that, and so when the shit comes up, we don't want to feel it, and we go back to apathy and avoidance. But it's in the sitting with that releases the energy which then allows us, it frees up our attention to place onto what it is we want. Because our minds are just attached to whatever has the biggest emotional charge, right? We put our attention onto what creates the most energetic charge, and where attention goes, energy flows. So you're in lack, and the feeling of lack, of not having, creates discomfort in you. And because we're biologically wired to focus on the threat in order to try and avoid it, we keep putting our energy onto it, and we just create more of it, and then you just continue throughout your life just putting energy onto what it is you don't want, which is the lack. And because of the emotional charge, and as we go through life and we still don't have the thing we want, it gets bigger and bigger. Yet we don't actually feel the energy of it enough to have it release. And yeah, I mean, I get caught up in this as well. So to use me as an example, I'm building a business that takes nervous system regulation and embodiment work to businesses. And yesterday I was caught up in so much apathy that I just couldn't do it, because the stories came up like, I can't do this, companies just don't want to hear from me, I'm not going to be able to help them, all these bullshit stories. And so it just put me on my arse, really. I had nothing. I had no motivation, no drive, no focus to really do anything. And I could have bought into those stories as being real, and I did for a short while. And then I was reminded that these feelings and stories are coming up. In order for me to work with them and release them, so I can then go back to feeling confident and courageous as I go towards my goals. So I laid down on bed, and I hated where in my body I felt this stagnant, this energy that was like this disbelief that I could do this. And I really felt it in my chest very strongly. Because it's fear and discomfort, it creates a bit of dysregulation in the body. So the first thing I did was just to breathe deeply and slowly whilst facing that feeling, facing the belief that I can't do it, facing the doubt and the fear that existed within my chest. And I just breathed. And I continued to feel and breathe, and then my thoughts would come up telling me, just trying to distract me away from the feeling, because my mind doesn't want me to feel uncomfortable, right? We've spent so much of our lives avoiding emotions, so when it's time to sit down and really feel something, we're going to want to avoid it. So I would catch myself thinking, and then I'd come back down to the feeling. And then after now you got to remember, I've had a lot of time to develop this practice, so it comes easy to me now. But it can come easy to you, providing you're prepared to put in the work and do the inner work to actually start releasing energy from your body, from your mind and body. But after a few minutes, I noticed that this feeling of doubt and disbelief was sort of existing around my throat. And so I just sort of put my head back, and I allowed that energy to do what it wanted, and it kind of started moving around. And then I had an almighty yawn, just big wide open mouth, like ah, and I felt the release in the yawning. And yawning's an amazing way of releasing energy. I do it a lot. And then the tears started running down my face. Now, I wasn't like experiencing grief, or like I wasn't crying. Not that there would be anything wrong with that, but it was just a release. It's another release. So it just had like tears running down my face, and I was continuously feeling it, and it went on for about 15 minutes of just so much release and letting go, just continuous yawning for like 15 minutes. And I would kind of imagine like this black cloud leaving my mouth when it was going. This is kind of like shamanic practices here. And then I felt very clear of that energy. And so the next step was to kind of ask myself what did I want instead of that? What do I want instead of this disbelief and doubt? And I was reminded of a feeling that I've experienced in my heart many times when I imagine myself living the sort of life that I truly want to be living. And there's a certain warmthness to it, and yeah, it feels good basically. So now notice how the doubt was the predominant emotion, and that was taking my attention. So that I was giving my energy to that, and I shifted it. I released it as much as I could in the moment, and then I shifted my focus, and therefore my energy went into having the thing that I want, instead of it being on what I don't want. It went on to what I do want. And then I just lay down in bed for like 20 minutes feeling all the emotions and seeing myself living that life. And I went to bed, I drifted off to sleep feeling that. I ended up having some very crazy dreams, which I won't go into, but yeah, so that's kind of the process of releasing energy, but specifically the energy of doubt and worry and this feelings of lack, because we can become so identified with this disbelief, or I'm not capable, I don't belong, whatever these beliefs are that create these sort of heavy feelings. And in relation to like finding a relationship, you know, whatever if you're not creating one, then there's feelings that you potentially just attach yourself to these feelings and just see them as a part of who you are, and that's just your reality. But in truth, it's just energy. Like everything's energy. Where there's an up, there's a down, there's an in and an out, a left and a right. So that's I don't fully understand it, but it's the polarity of the universe, pretty much. You can't have one thing without the other. Okay, light can't exist without dark. That kind of thing. So once you're able to connect with the energy behind your perceived lack, the energy of not having whatever the emotion is there, and you see it, then you take a step back. You now sit in awareness and you see that as energy, and you sit with the energy long enough in order for for you to release it, and then boom, now you got the option to find what it is you do want, and then you generate a big enough emotional charge around what you do want. So that's taken your attention. So your attention has been taken away from what you don't want towards what you do want, and that becomes like a new habit. Your habit up to now has been focusing on what you don't want in order to try and change it. But now, if you do this practice, you may find that you're able to put your attention onto what you do want as a habit, and now you're going to naturally start identifying as that version of you, which means you're going to have thoughts and feelings and emotions and ideas and inspiration and creativity that are linked to that version of you, which could be of an abundance. And it's those ideas that are coming to you that are going to be like breadcrumbs towards what it is you want to bring into your life, which for this video is more about finding a lovely woman, but you know, works for money and many other things as well. So yeah, little different video than usual, but I really enjoyed recording this one. I'll put a link below if you want any help. I'm running a workshop every week, and doing some really powerful work there with guys, so if you want to do that, all one-on-one work, that's available. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.